ZocDoc is a free app where you can find amazing doctors and book appointments online. We're talking about booking appointments with thousands of top-rated, patient-reviewed doctors and specialists. You can filter specifically for ones who take your insurance, which is such a huge help, and are located near you and treat almost any condition under the sun. I love ZocDoc. I think that it's super accessible. The app is really well made and easy to use. I use it and I love it. Go to ZocDoc.com/BCC and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/BCC. ZocDoc.com/BCC. Hello, everyone. It's Kendahl, and I'm here to let you know that today's episode is sponsored by ShipStation. If you own a business, you know how much work goes into it. ShipStation just takes a little bit of that out of your hands and does it for you. And that is why I love ShipStation. It is just so user-friendly and makes so much about owning a business easier. It's super easy to use, and there is a free trial and quick setup. Set your business up for the holiday season success with ShipStation. Go to ShipStation.com and use code BCC today and sign up for your free 60-day trial. That's ShipStation.com, code BCC. Welcome to The Chain. We're your hosts of the BCC Club. I'm Kendahl Landreth.
And I'm Sarah Schauer. And what are we talking about today, Kendahl?
Well, today is a little bit of a different episode, a little bit of a darker episode. I'm just going to give a little trigger warning.
Yeah.
If there's going to be discussion of child abuse, and what an opening for this.
Yeah.
They're like, what are you talking about? There's going to be discussion of child abuse. Today we're talking about 8 passengers.
Yeah.
I've received more DMs. I don't get DMs very often. People don't often care.
Do you check your hidden messages?
No.
Okay, I thought I wasn't getting DM'd a lot on Instagram, but then I checked my hidden messages and I realized that it was like muting, like it was like hiding messages with curse words in it.
Which are all of your messages.
Yeah, my audience was like, that's fucking sick. And so like it just all got hidden, and I was
they
like,
start all their nice comments with, hey, dumb bitch.
Yeah, I was like, where is all my, like, am I not inspiring? No, but like they're all just cursing at me nicely, and so I was like, oh, they're hidden.
Yeah. No, I don't check. So I'm sorry if I haven't responded to DMs, but even in my regular DMs, I got more DMs than I ever have about, Kendahl, have you heard the news about 8 passengers? Because if you know me, truly, there's not many. I'm pretty neurodivergent. So I've got about 3 interests, which are dinosaurs and this family, basically. And my dog. I don't know. I guess this podcast.
Yeah.
But I have very few interests. I know so much about this family, and I've been following them since they were born on YouTube.
Yeah.
Not because I liked them, because I was fascinated by them. I mean, especially, they used to be like pretty normal Mormon family, living in Utah. The mom was pretty strict, but in like a very normal, like Mormon way.
Yeah.
Like I had friends who had parents who were strict like that. And it slowly over time turned into something wild.
Uh-huh.
And I think I told you like 7 months ago, I was like, I think this is going to become really dark.
Yeah.
And it has. And yesterday, I don't know when this episode is going to air, but as of yesterday when we're filming, the mom of this YouTube channel has been arrested. Mm-hmm. So what else we're going to talk about today?
Yeah, and rightfully so. I mean, we have talked about 8. We touched on 8 passengers in the past when we talk about mommy vloggers, family vloggers, and we both agree that family vlogging, mommy vlogging less so, because if you listen to the episodes, but family vlogging...
This is a test.
Yeah. Family vlogging is not, like, ethical, you know?
Yeah.
And it shows... And I mean, we've talked about how, like, I feel like what... This lady she lost her mind, you know, and she started off strict, but then she like snowballed. And right. I feel like that also, we realize that happens, like maybe she also did that, like content that is more triggering will prompt more comments. And so maybe that's one of the reasons why she became so crazy. But
it's wild. It's really scary. And yeah, I mean, we're going to go down the rabbit hole today of 8 passengers. We already previously had one planned, correct me if I'm wrong, to do an episode about 8 passengers.
I could have sworn that we did.
I think we did, but then this drops, so now it's going to be a little bit of a different episode. But
okay.
We're going to go down. We're going to talk about what the situation is, and also just a little bit about scandals that they've had in the past. But yeah, once again, trigger warning. If you are at all sensitive to child abuse or you have things, just take care of yourself and don't listen to this episode if you feel like it might affect you negatively.
Yeah, I'm just like the entire episode while you're talking to me.
It's just me talking. Sarah has tuned out. So should we get started?
Well, shouldn't we talk about our weeks first?
How was your week?
My week was pretty good for the most part. My carpal tunnel is flaring up again, and I'm moving, and I love moving, which is like crazy. That
I'm the same way.
Yeah, I mean, I just love the organizing, but then this happened, and now the last thing that I have to do is move all my Legos over.
Yeah,
and that's just gonna be
very tedious,
horrible. Like I mean, I know I can pack it in like boxes, soft boxes.
Yeah.
But I'm just worried. I'm worried about something falling over.
Do you have movers for the other stuff?
I do have movers for everything else is in boxes. The only thing that I haven't packed is the Legos because I don't want movers to touch them.
No.
I'll start like crying and crapping my pants. But then also today I'm 8 months sober. I know.
That's such a delightful thing because it's like you're moving, which moving always feels like you're starting a new chapter.
Yeah.
Even if you move a street away, it's just this like reorganizing, resetting up your space, and then to have it also be your 8 months sober, it's just a new journey for you. This apartment will be a whole new you.
Yeah, I know. I'm super excited. I'm thinking about like a time in college. I was like between my junior and my senior year, I moved houses, and it was literally like one house down.
Yeah.
So all my friends were just carrying stuff down the street the entire day.
That's what my last move was. Similar. It was one street down.
Yeah.
And it almost felt worse because I was like, the moving was pretty much equally hard, but just like so close that it felt so insane.
No, yeah, you don't feel like actually packing the boxes, like and like taping them up because you're like, I'm gonna immediately take it out.
Yeah, I would just take one thing at a time and be like, I'm just gonna carry this lamp over, and it actually took way longer. Also, the night we moved all day, and you know how you're so exhausted. You're like, I'm more tired than I've ever been, and I was in charge of the keys. Bad idea. And the night we first moved in, I locked us out of our apartment, and we had to have a locksmith come.
Oh my God.
And that was the first time I was like, my girlfriend's gonna break up with me on the spot. Like I was holding, because I like realized what I did.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I have to tell them. And I was like, well, just prepare. Like you're gonna have to move again tomorrow.
Yeah.
When your girlfriend kicks you out of this house.
Dude, at the end of the day, I feel like I've lost all like normal like human ability. Yeah. Like if someone asks me one thing that's even just the most easy thing to answer, I'll be like, what the fuck are you talking to me? Like why stop, you know?
Damn, it's hard. It's hard. Well, I'm so happy about I'm so happy.
Thank you.
I'm excited
have
for you.
Housewarming party and you're invited. I just have to get my stuff set up, but it's gonna happen. And how was your week?
Good. It was good. I had a good week. What did I even do? Oh, I went to Seattle.
Yeah.
And I went to my friend's surprise wedding on a boat.
Yeah, I saw that on Jordan's Instagram.
Fun. Yeah, it was so fun. My girlfriend officiated it, and it was just such a treat. My girlfriend and I have always been like, we'll get married, but we're not going to have like a wedding.
Yeah.
And I was like, this might be the way to do it. We were just on a speedboat.
Yeah.
All in our bikinis, and they were like, we're getting married, and then they did the most like adorable, beautiful vows, and then jumped in the water, and then we just spent the rest of the day on the boat, and it was so fun.
When did Jordan get ordained?
Last year, because I said ordained another wedding. What is it called? Officiated.
Yeah.
They officiated their best friend's wedding.
Okay.
And now they're everyone's go-to. They're good at it. They're a good officiant.
Yeah.
They're my minister.
They seem like they can command the attention of wedding guests.
Well, and it's a hard job too because you have to ride the line of like, I want it to be fun. But wedding, like I want it to be funny, but like wedding funny.
Yeah.
But also like I don't want to steal too much attention, and you got to give kind of equal, attention to both people and make it more about them. But also you have to say enough. So I'm like, I don't know if I could. I'd be too nervous.
Yeah.
Because it is a lot of pressure. Like, oh my God, what if I ruin this day?
Yeah, like stutter like through it. Like I feel like I would be like, guys, I'm sorry. And then the husband and wife, or the wife and wife or husband would be like, oh my God, just keep going, you know?
Yeah, but it was fun.
You told me in the psychic episode that Jordan is a triple Aries. And I was like, Jordan, honestly, like meeting them, like the times I've met them, they command attention. Yeah. I feel like they'd be a great wedding planner.
Well, because do you know Jordan, my girlfriend? I don't know why I always say my girlfriend. I get so afraid people are like, who are they talking about? As if I don't talk about them on like every episode. But Jordan, my girlfriend, they are they're planning obsessed. It's all they want to do. They have a thing called Notion. Do you know Notion?
No.
It's like a website you plan on.
What?
You would like it. It's fun. They said you had to kind of dink around with it for a while to get used to it, but they are obsessed with it. And we will literally we'll be out and I'll be like, oh, I can't wait to go home and play my Switch and just relax. And Jordan's like, oh yeah, I can't wait to get home and play on my Notion. I'm like, you don't play on Notion. Notion's like an Apple calendar. It's not like something you play on, but they love it. And they plan everything to a T. So like we're going on vacation at the end of the year to Germany. Yeah. They have had it planned for a year and a half. Jesus. Down to like on their Notion, it's like you click, or I don't even know how they've done it, but it's like you click a part of Germany and it shows like you can filter it by hotels, hostels, restaurants, fancy restaurants, and they have it all. It's insane. They love planning. And I've said a bunch of times, I'm like, do you really like this? Because I don't want to put it all on you. You know, if you don't love planning, and I've just been like, oh, Jordan loves planning, so I'm not going to do anything. Yeah. But they're like, please don't help me plan. I want to do it. Yeah. No, that's so bad, which is incredible.
No, seriously, that's how I am with Naomi. Naomi is so indecisive when it comes to things. Yeah. And I like planning, but I also don't like thinking about things a long time. Yeah. So like I booked the flights, the hotel. I only scroll down, I see 5 stars, we're done. Yeah. You know, like I don't read reviews. I'm like, this is all booked and planned. It's planned and booked, but it's probably not optimized.
See, that's what Jordan, because that's how I am. Yeah. Like I'm someone who would go to Germany, not plan a single thing. Like if I was by myself, I'd be like, oh, let's hop on a plane to Germany and find a hotel. Like, which I think ends up being harder because you're then having to plan on the trip, which is like annoying. Jordan will have gone through every single hotel in Germany, gone through every single review, picked the best hotel based on like my wants, their wants. Like it's truly incredible. I'm like, you could be a travel like
seriously.
It's amazing. So I'm excited. But they love
I'm excited for you too.
ZocDoc is a free app where you can find amazing doctors and book appointments online. We're talking about booking appointments with thousands of top-rated, patient-reviewed doctors and specialists. You can filter specifically for ones who take your insurance, which is such a huge help, and are located near you and treat almost any condition under the sun. I love reading the reviews because let me tell you, you instantly know from a patient review if you want to go see that doctor. I love seeing a review that is like, this doctor listened to me, this doctor was really kind, they were professional. Those are really the 3 things I need in a doctor. So that is always really nice to know when I'm going into the appointment that I'm going to have that. These doctors have verified reviews from actual real patients. They're not bots. And the average wait time to see a doctor booked on ZocDoc is between 24 to 48 hours. That's it. You can even score same-day appointments, which is so incredible. I've had times where I'm like, am I dying? I don't know. Well, the next appointment is in 3 months, so I'll have to wait to find out. And by the time I make that appointment, they're like, what's wrong? And I'm like, that issue already passed. Now I'm just here, and that issue's gone now. So once you find the doctor you want, you can book them immediately with just a few app taps. No more waiting awkwardly on hold with receptionists. I love ZocDoc. I think that it's super accessible. The app is really well made and easy to use. I use it and I love it. Go to ZocDoc.com/BCC and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/BCC. ZocDoc.com/BCC. Hello, everyone. It's Kendahl, and I'm here to let you know that today's episode is sponsored by ShipStation. It is almost the holidays. We are quickly approaching, and if you own a business, there are pros and cons to it being the holidays. It's very stressful, I'm sure. ShipStation is here to make it a little bit easier. Whether you're shipping from your house or a warehouse, ShipStation can help increase your profitability, save time automating your shipping and returns in the ShipStation dashboard, and keep costs down with industry-leading carrier discounts while your holiday orders roll on in. I am always seeing on social media the most incredible small businesses. The other day I saw this woman who makes stained glass ghosts, and you can bet your bottom dollar that I bought one. But whenever I see these small businesses online and they're showing how they package their products and make their products, I'm always like, how is this profitable? This is so much work. If you own a business, you know how much work goes into it. ShipStation just takes a little bit of that out of your hands and does it for you. And that is why I love ShipStation. It is just so user-friendly and makes so much about owning a business easier. It's super easy to use, and there is a free trial and quick setup. So if you've been on the fence about trying ShipStation, this is the time. The time is now. ShipStation does so many things, easily automates shipping tasks and manages orders in one simple dashboard. It can simplify and automate your shipping no matter how big your business grows. And it has industry-leading discounted rates from USPS, UPS, DHL, and Global Post. You guys, get ShipStation if you have a business. Set your business up for the holiday season success with ShipStation. Go to ShipStation.com and use code BCC today and sign up for your free 60-day trial. That's ShipStation.com, code BCC. Now on, I'm not going to do a funny segue for this because it's too sad. We're going to talk about 8 passengers. Sorry, guys. This is a sad episode, but I think it's something we have to talk about because we talk about the internet, and this is a huge part of the internet, and it seeps into our whole discussion on family vloggers as a whole. So let's get into it.
So just for the people who haven't listened to our family vloggers episode, can you give a brief rundown of who 8 Passengers, like who they are?
Yes. Yeah. So 8 Passengers is a family channel. They've been around since, they've been around forever. They've been around a really long time. When they started, I think their oldest daughter was like 9. She's like 20 years old now. She lives somewhere else. Like, they've been around for a really long time, and they're part of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And Ruby is the mom and Kevin is the dad. They have 6 kids, ergo 8 passengers. And they just made wholesome, quote unquote, parenting content. It was very much like, we're taking Russell to soccer practice and I'm packing his lunch, and, you know, her freeze drying. God, she freeze dries everything.
Yeah.
And that was what their content was. I mean, she was on all these news stations talking about parenting. She had a cookbook. Just the most Mormon woman you know.
Yes.
I think it's also important to say all of her siblings also have YouTube channels.
Okay.
And she's 3 sisters and a brother. And her parents also have a YouTube channel.
Jesus.
So the whole family has YouTube channels where they feature their children. They're all family vloggers, and they are very famous. Every single sibling has millions of subscribers on YouTube.
Oh my God.
So they're very big. In 2019, God, I feel like my entire life has led up to this.
Yeah.
If you'd have ever told me I was able to do this on a podcast.
No, I mean, next week we're going to talk about dinosaurs, and you're going to be like, are you kidding me?
I'm so excited. I wish it was under these circumstances, but I do finally get to share this, what takes up half of my brain. 2019, people's ears start to perk up because the oldest son is missing from the vlogs. We're like, where's Chad? He's now an adult. His name is Chad. We're like, where is he? They come out with a video talking about how they've sent their oldest son to a place called Anastasia, which is a wilderness therapy camp. Now, if you're on TikTok at all, you've seen videos of people talking about wilderness therapy camps. Have you ever been to a wilderness therapy camp?
No, my parents haven't even threatened it. Thankfully,
That's nice.
I know. I feel like they just didn't know about it, but if they did, they'd be like, oh, wow.
Wow, wait a minute.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah, a lot of religious kids went to these religious therapy camps. Now, I'm sure there's a wide range of these camps, so this is not a generalization of all of them, but a lot of them are very bad, very disturbing. Kids have died at these camps. They are basically, you go out into the wilderness, no clothes, or you have clothes.
Yeah.
I think you have one pair of clothes though.
Yeah.
No food, no bed, no wall. Like you basically scavenge everything for yourself.
Yeah.
And fully live off the wild. And it's for kids who have, in quotes, behavioral issues. Because a lot of these things, it's like, yeah, there are kids with behavioral issues, but also there are kids who are Mormons who act like normal children.
Yeah.
Or kids who are religious, act like normal children, and to them that's a behavioral issue.
Yeah.
So they sent him to this camp, and everyone was like, wait a minute, is this woman nuts? Because it's really sad. He was gone for months. I mean, maybe 6 if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
He gets back. So everyone starts to kind of go down the rabbit hole of all her videos and pull, because I think a lot of people are like, wait, is she abusive? Is she like a terrible mom? Then you start to find these Easter eggs throughout videos. Easter eggs, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Maybe the worst Easter ever. And just of her being a shitty parent. Like, there's a video that went viral of her, I think I've talked about this before, but her 6-year-old went to school, forgot to pack her lunch. She's 6.
Yeah.
Her teacher calls and is like, your daughter forgot to pack her lunch. Can you come bring her one? She's really hungry. And Ruby posts on YouTube. Keep in mind, she's a parenting channel. So she really thinks in her mind's eye, she is showing people how to parent. And there are a lot of people who watch her videos and like take advice from her. And she's like, well, I told the teacher, I'm sorry if this makes you uncomfortable, but like, I'm not bringing Eva lunch to school. And I hope that nobody gives her food. Please don't give her a granola bar because I need her to starve because she needs to learn that like, that's what happens when you don't pack her lunch. And she's 6 years old. A lot of things like that started coming up. Then, sorry, this is a little long-winded,
you're
but
good.
just to give you the backstory. Then, so then 2020 is when things really pick up. Because also this is pandemic, so everyone's like, their lives are searching about 8 passengers online.
Yeah.
Chad talks about in a video, there's this really bizarre video that I cannot believe she posted. It shows just how delulu she is. She's sitting on the floor with her like 3 kids, and they're all kind of like chatting, and she's vlogging, and her son Chad, who went to Anastasia, is like, well, I haven't had a bed for 7 months. And Ruby like laughs, the mom, and is like, I don't think we've told our viewers that yet. And he's like, yeah, I got my bed taken away because I pulled a prank on my little brother where I told him we were going to Disneyland and he got ready, and then like a very normal prank you do on your younger brother.
Yeah.
So his younger brother got all dressed for Disneyland, and then he was like, just kidding, we're not going to Disneyland. A kind of mean-spirited prank, but also like, calm down, who cares? My cousins used to hit me with rock band drumsticks. And so he got his bed taken away for 7 months. 7 months. He slept on a beanbag in the living room. Crazy.
Jesus.
And so everyone is like, this video is wild. I think eventually they took down the video. During that time, a petition starts that I think got around 17,000 signatures, having CPS go check on this family. CPS does come. Ruby and Kevin, the parents, make a statement, a video basically laughing at CPS coming to their house and being like, when CPS came, the woman was laughing because she was like, why would we be called here? And I'm like, unless a CPS worker needs to be fully fired, which maybe she does, no CPS worker would be laughing.
I don't think they're jolly people.
Well, right? Yeah. They're always rude.
Yeah.
I mean, why would they be laughing? And also, you don't know what, they're not going to walk into your home and be like, this is hilarious.
Yeah.
It's like they're going to interview the children, do their job, and leave. Like, why would they do that? So that felt wild. Yeah, I'm just like, that wouldn't happen.
I
Maybe
mean,
I'm
the
wrong.
only thing I could see, like, maybe what would be considered laughing is, you know, when you're wildly uncomfortable and all you can do is laugh?
Yeah.
I feel like the mom maybe said something weird and the lady was like, what? You know, like, she wasn't laughing. Yeah. She was just, like, really uncomfortable, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then everyone, I mean, just was like, and we're almost to updated, I swear. We're almost to present day. But there's just hundreds of scenarios where there were weird things that this mom did that she posted online that people were like, ew, weird, that's weird.
Yeah.
You know, also, and we're not even fully deep diving into this, but just the exploitation of her children. The like filming them crying, filming them, and her kids more than any other kids on the internet, I would say. Because I've seen a lot of these family vlogger kids, and a lot of them seem like happy.
Yeah.
And I think it's like, that has nothing to do with the ethics of it. I still think it's wrong.
Yeah.
But I think it's more like, oh, later they're going to regret that these videos are online. Or they might, but it's not their choice and that sucks for them.
Yeah.
The 8 passengers' children look like they are miserable.
Yeah.
And they ask her on camera to not record them. And she keeps it in the videos.
Yeah.
They will be like, can we talk about this off camera? And she will be like, no, and keep talking about these very personal things. She disciplines them on camera, which like even your iconic family vloggers like the LeBrant fams don't discipline their kids on camera. Like, it's just so intimate. You saw every part of their lives. So then June 2022. Ruby announces she's no longer making YouTube videos. Huge day. But she is not making YouTube videos because she's forming a new channel called Connections with Jody Hildebrandt, a therapist whose license was put on probation by Utah Clinical Mental Health Counselor Licensing Board for 18 months back in January 2012 for discussing a patient's quote-unquote porn addiction with elders at their Mormon church without permission.
Jesus.
So wild.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact stuff on this, but she does not have a therapist license, psychological, I don't know what it's called. She doesn't have a license.
Yeah.
She shouldn't be doing any of this.
Yeah.
So they join forces. They start this channel called Connections, which causes concern straight away, with onlookers labeling Connections as a quote-unquote cult. It describes itself as a mom support group and claims to help treat those lost and stranded in the darkness of distortion, which addictions, fear, sadness, and all other self-destructive behaviors derive from, but has been criticized as damaging, extreme, authoritarian teaching.
Yeah.
So Connections, all it is they are trying to teach their children truth.
Uh-huh.
Now, what is truth, Sarah? I have no fucking idea. I've tried to figure it out.
Yeah.
Truth means nothing. They say you have to live in truth, and truth is just whatever Ruby and Jody decide is truth.
Yeah.
Which is a cult. So you can't and everyone else who's not in Connections and paying, I think it's $95 a month or something. Anyone who's not paying that is in distortion and is going to hell.
Uh-huh.
So
it said
sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, I'm reading what it said. Like the reason for the cult in videos, they said the parents should not love their children unconditionally.
Yeah.
And another Frank gave multiple reasons children shouldn't be listened to and said they don't deserve privacy. They also freely made homophobic, transphobic, racist, and ableist comments.
Yeah. I mean, so to me, this article is from Insider, a lot of where I'm getting this information from, but to me, I'm like, the homophobic, racist stuff doesn't shock me. I'm like, I know how you guys are. Like, that checks out. I already assumed that. Like, Ruby was in line at Chick-fil-A donating. There's a video of her donating money to Chick-fil-A. I'm like, don't donate money to Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
That doesn't even if they were pro-gay rights, why are you donating money to a massive fast food chain? It's just so twisted. But I already knew she's homophobic, and I also assumed she was probably a little racist. But they truly, I mean, these are the type of parents, they encourage parents to take doors off of not just their kids' bedrooms, but their bathrooms. They take doors off their kids' bathrooms. Can't shit in peace. That is so disturbing. They don't believe in unconditional love. They think it is a choice to live in distortion, so they don't believe in loving their children. There's a video of her talking about how she loves principals more than she loves her own children. Yeah. Because, and it's just really, I mean, to them, being trans is in distortion and not living in truth. Being gay is not living in truth. But truth doesn't mean, it's just a made-up word. It doesn't mean anything. And we're almost where we can discuss this. I'm sorry, this has been such a long explanation.
I think everyone needs this, so you're doing exactly what we promised.
They're just bizarre. And then all these clips come out. I mean, they talk about how the youngest, like the 6 and the 8-year-old, were not living in truth.
Yeah.
I just can't. It's like so stupid. Because, and these are 6 and 8-year-olds. So I'm like, what are they doing? There's no way they're doing something so bad that you're disciplining them in this way. They're 6 and 8 and very sheltered 6 and 8-year-olds.
Yeah.
So to me, they're probably not wanting to do their chores. They're probably like not maybe doing what they're supposed to do, going to bed too late. I don't know. That's all I can even imagine.
Yeah.
She takes Christmas away from them. And she says, I'm giving you the gift of truth this Christmas. All their other siblings get presents, and the 2 youngest are not getting any gifts for Christmas. Even though I've watched their Christmas specials, their gifts aren't that great anyways, but they they get the gift of truth for Christmas. So people really were like, oh, this woman has been overtaken by this thing. We've watched her parenting before. It was already controlling, and it has somehow stepped up to this very bizarre level of controlling that is just super authoritarian and very weird. Then there's rumors that her and her husband have split, which is very, against the church. So then you're like, is she even Mormon anymore? Is she just fully gone into this weird cult? Yeah. Then her and Jody start basically living together. So we're like, gay, ? Yeah. I don't know. So you start to just over time be like, this woman is off her rocker, because on Connections, they're talking about how divorce is not in truth. But behind the scenes, pretty sure she's getting a divorce. Obviously, this is all alleged. But then September 2022, Sherry, who's the oldest child, announces she is no longer in contact with her immediate family. And this is wild because at the time I think she's 18 or 19. She's in her second year at BYU. She was like scrutinized online for years and years and years, which is so sad that her parents allowed that to happen and kept putting her on the internet. But because she was like a real goody two-shoes. She was like, people called her Ruby 2.0. She disciplined her siblings. She did whatever her mom wanted. She was a straight A student. Her Instagram bio said, her Instagram bio was like, to school for cool. Like she was just like a perfect daughter to Ruby and sucked up to Ruby all the time. So people just disliked her and thought she was annoying. She cuts them off, which immediately makes you be like, oh, she was doing all of that to survive. Like that was a full act. That is like so upsetting. She's still Mormon but she's calm. She posted a photo of like a sticker that said all are welcome here. I think she's like pro gay rights and pro like not being terrible. So yes, now we're up to the point where basically there's just all these rumors about what's going on with this family and it's wild. And then as of Thursday, August 30th, Ruby Franke is arrested under suspicion of 2 counts of aggravated child abuse.
I do want to jump in.
Yes, please do.
Okay.
I really would want you to because I feel like I've just been monologuing about them. But
well, no, I mean that was all like that was a class on them. But I mean, I just want to like run through like we've talked about this before. Like religion can be great, but some people use it to mask narcissism and self-righteousness. And so it looks like all the punishments that the mom gave out were around humiliation, which is a huge indicator that the person is ashamed because like humiliation, you should be ashamed. And so like that's what they're projecting. And a lot of people, when they like punish like little children so severely, they don't get them, like they are projecting their dark thoughts on what this kid must be doing. Yeah. Because, I mean, we all, like, whether you like kids or not, most kids that age are not manipulating you. No. But the reason why you think that they're manipulating you is because you would do that if you were manipulating someone, but the kid doesn't have that sort of, like...
That's my biggest pet peeve. Yeah. I hear parents all the time saying, my 2-year-old is manipulative. I'm like... Your 2-year-old is not manipulative. It's like one of my biggest pet peeves. I'm like, you're putting so much on this little baby who's no idea. Like, they are literally, their brain is just trying to get its needs met and, like, learning how to navigate the world. And, like, every time it gets something, it's like, oh, that's how I get that thing. Like, it's not trying to manipulate you.
Yeah, like, think about, like, even like the terrible twos. Like, a toddler has, like, a fit where they start crying and throwing stuff. Imagine, like, that... You're like, oh, they're being a bratty piece of shit. That's what you would be if you as a grown adult were on the ground like throwing stuff. This person, imagine you don't have the language and you can't even process your emotions. So it just like, I mean, think about anyone when they're pushed to extremes, like your brain shuts off, maybe you have sensory overload and someone just keeps asking you questions, you're gonna start like crying, you know? Yeah. And that's how kids...
I did that at 24.
Yeah, I mean, so like if you don't have the language to defend yourself or say what you want, like the only thing you're reasonably going to do is probably start crying. And so it's messed up. But
well, I agree. And I think there has to be like, after this comes out and then, the Turpin case, they're also very religious. What is it? Happy Shiny People?
Maybe.
The one about the Duggars. That documentary I just watched recently. Yeah. There is a through line between, because child abuse is a problem no matter your religion or creed or whoever. Mm-hmm. But I do think there's a difference between, I'm a parent who hasn't been to therapy. Mm-hmm. I was hit as a kid. I'm mad and I smack my kid. Yeah. Very bad. Still not acceptable. I'm not condoning. And also very damaging. But you see a lot in like religious places in the Deep South and the Southern Baptist Church and the Mormon Church. Yeah. The way they parent is like a active abuse. It is like, this is good parenting. I am like taking this away from you. I'm not letting you eat dinner because you should be hungry. Like things that are not out of just like a moment of rage. It is like thought out, planned abuse. Yeah. And I was just thinking about it this morning because I'm like, what is that? Why is that? Like, what is that? And in the Shiny Happy People documentary, there's a video of a man teaching, I don't know who he is, but he's teaching parents how to beat their kids, basically. Mm-hmm. And this was not long ago. And I do think it's like, well, a lot of religion is based on, like, you go to church every Sunday and it's like, here is, like, God does not love you unconditionally for 90% of church, not 80%. I don't know. Of course, there's wonderful churches, but a lot of churches, it's like,
well, he does love all of his creatures, but not all creatures are let into heaven.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not, it's like, if you don't get into heaven, where do you go? You burn in eternal hell, like hell for eternally, and you're in pain forever.
Yeah.
Like, the worst thing that could happen to you if you don't do this, and if you don't do this, and if you don't, all of these things, it's all very conditional.
Yeah.
And that's how, like, God treats you. So, like, then the parents, it feels like that is what these children are taught to accept.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. I don't know. And so it's just this I do see a lot of, like, true, like, if you don't do what I say, if you don't follow the rules of this house, you deserve to be in pain.
Yeah.
Because that is what everything is based on. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. The, like, Christian church, so, like, it's good versus evil. And so, like, if you're not a good person, that means you're a bad person. So, okay, yeah, like, a lot of religion is great, and a lot of people use it for good.
Sure.
But, like, shame is so important to, like, keeping a lot of churches going because, like, there is no middle ground. There is no gentle parenting. It's two extremes.
Yeah.
You are either a good person or a bad person. And if you can say that I'm punishing my kids to be like a good person, that, like, if it's you versus your kid, you're the good person and your kid's the bad person.
Yeah.
So your punishment is going to be extreme. You have low emotional intelligence, so you're going to think of these humiliating ways to, like, destroy this kid, because if you even for a second as a parent say, I made a mistake, with how extreme your religion is, it means you're a bad person.
Yeah.
And then that shame is just impossible to look at. So you have to, like, you push all that shame, you completely reject that. You're like, no, I'm not being a bad parent.
Yeah.
And that, like, turns into, like, awful punishment for your kids.
Yeah. And to believe that, I don't know, and I said months ago on the podcast that I feel like Ruby Franke is turning into, and I hesitate to say this because these are all very serious things, so I don't want to, but now I feel a little more justified in this. She is following a very similar path to, like, Lori Vallow, who was a woman who murdered her children, who was like a mom, like, I don't know if that explains it, a mommy, where she was like, she was a good mom, people thought, but she was, I think, Mormon. I'm sorry if I'm misspeaking on any of this, but she joined a similar thing, and then all of a sudden was like, my kids have to die.
Yeah.
And I think the situation we're about to tell could have easily led to this type of a situation and was leading to this type of a situation.
Uh-huh.
So what ended up happening was Ruby Franke, the mom, is listed in the Washington County Sheriff's Office website as in custody after being arrested at 9:33 p.m. on August 30th in Ivins, Utah. Her business partner was also arrested at the same time. According to a statement from Santa Clara Ivins Public Safety Department that was shared with Insider, a child climbed out of a window at a residence in Ivins, Utah, to get help, which led to the allegations of abuse Franke is being charged with. The residence belonged to Franke's business partner, Jody Hildebrandt, who was also arrested in the case. Local outlet Fox 13 reported. The child ran to the neighbor's house to get help. Fox 13 reported. Why does it keep saying that? Like, I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
And asked for food and water, according to the statement. The neighbors noticed that the kid had duct tape on their ankles and wrists and decided to call the police. The child was taken to the hospital where they were treated for severe wounds and malnourishment, according to the statement. After the first kid escaped the house, a second malnourished child was found in the same residence in similar physical condition. The second child was also taken to the hospital for treatment. According to the documents, Franke filmed a YouTube video from the house just days before the arrest, which adds to Miss Franke being present in the home and having knowledge of the abuse, malnourishment, and neglect. The statement from the officials said that a search warrant led to discovery of evidence consistent with the kid's wounds, and 4 minors were taken into care by Department of Child Services. Now, Franke and Hildebrandt have both been arrested in Utah. The definition of aggravated child abuse includes starvation, broken bones, head injuries from hitting or shaking, and suffocation. If intentionally inflicted, the perpetrator faces up to perpetrators. Thank you. The perpetrator faces up to 15 years in prison and a fine of $10,000.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what happened.
Yeah. That's horrifying. I definitely think I think just like this reminds me of, I'm going to mention alcoholism again. But like in the beginning when you start like drinking, it could be for fun, you know, it could be casual, but then eventually when you become dependent on the substance, you start to get horribly anxious and deeply paranoid.
Yeah.
And so I think that they were the mom was like addicted to like the shame of it and anxiety, which just built on itself. Yeah. And then it turned from like taking the door off the hinges to starving. I mean, she already started like pretty extreme. Like,
but that's the problem. Is like, how can you go up? If my kid doesn't wash the dishes when I say they're supposed to, I starve them.
Yeah.
Well, what happens when they actually do something bad?
Yeah.
Or what happens when they do something even a little worse? What happens when they like go outside when they're not supposed to? Or and this is a woman who has insane rules also. Like, there were probably 2 rules. I wasn't allowed to watch Cops growing up. Which I stand by. I think that was good.
And I'm better for.
And I wasn't allowed to eat Pop-Tarts. Pop-Tarts. I'm not better for.
Yeah.
Worse for. And those were it's like, you know, there were so few rules that it's like, if you broke them, that's a huge amount of disrespect to my parents, because it's like, we have these like 3 rules. Why did you break them?
Yeah.
You live in a house where everything is a fucking rule. Everything is like a statement on your respect and who you are and whether you deserve to be fed or not.
Yeah.
You're now trying to, you're on like a what do they call it? Minefield?
Yeah.
Minefield.
Yeah.
Of like, how do I step? What do I do? What's acceptable? What's not acceptable? Because the way they explain things make no sense.
Yeah.
When your mom says you're not living in truth, I'm like, okay, great. That means nothing. I don't know what that is. And you can't explain it because it doesn't have a meaning. And it's just you wanting to be controlling. And I do think it's similar to like, it starts out small because she was always controlling. Like, she was always super controlling. And you could see that in her vlogs. She was weird. She was super controlling. And that just is a part of her. And she found someone else who validated her enough to let her be her most scary form of controlling.
Yeah.
And this is alleged, so I don't, maybe I'll edit this out. I don't know. But I've heard some people speculate, from people who've watched all their Connections videos. I didn't watch their Connections videos really unless like a viral moment went on YouTube, because they just made me too sad. But they talk a lot about how children who are in distortion should not be around kids who are not in distortion, which is so scary.
Yeah.
Like, the separation of like distorted children, quote unquote, and not distorted children is so weird. The 2 children who are her youngest children, who she's talked about having issues with, those are the kids who didn't get Christmas. And then her 2 oldest children, who I don't know, they're 16 and 14, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm like, they probably have just learned how to not get in trouble. Like, they are probably in full survival mode. It sounds from the description of the report that the 2 youngest children were tied up and being starved, fully malnourished.
Yeah.
And the other 2 children were not. So it seems like this was a like, we separate these children to a dungeon is kind of what it feels like, to be, malnourished. They don't deserve food. This is the ultimate form of like, you're living in distortion, so you should live in hell, basically.
Yeah.
That is not confirmed. That is just, but that makes sense to me, and I think is very disturbing.
No, yeah. I mean, like, there's like that whole psychology of like families where there's the golden child, the forgotten child, and then the scapegoat. But since she has 6 children, it's probably doubled up on each one.
Yeah.
So like the oldest is probably a golden child, like she was before she separated. Then the older children, the 14 and 16, probably the forgotten children. And then the scapegoats are the kids.
You nailed it on the head too, because that is exact. People always talked about how Eve was the youngest and Chad is the second oldest, but he's the oldest boy, which I feel like in religious homes often like is a whole doesn't even mean middle child. It's like a whole different whatever. But people are always like, they're the scapegoats. It's like, but they also both were kind of they kind of didn't take her bullshit really. I mean, Chad, the oldest son, would call her out on stuff and like make fun of her, and was definitely more rebellious. It's so fun because he's when you watch him online, he's so respectful. I'm like, if he was my son, I'd be like, wow, I hit the jackpot. Like, what a respectful, communicative, kind person who maybe like sometimes fails his math class. Like, I don't know, who fucking cares. And her youngest daughter was like comedic relief in these vlogs, because she would just call her mom out, and she was like 4 years old. Yeah. Where she would be like, Mom, you're annoying. Or like she'd be driving and she'd be like, you're a bad driver. And you would just hear it in the back. Yeah. She was always calling her out. And so Ruby, I think, had a lot of issues with her where she was just like, you are, for a narcissist, the nightmare of a child.
Yeah.
So they were definitely like her scapegoat children. And so now they're in custody without any bail. And I heard someone was saying online too that Utah, and this is not confirmed either, I don't know anything about this, but someone said online, like, Utah's child protection laws are very behind. Like, it's very hard to get your kids. It's very hard to be arrested for child abuse in Utah, which honestly makes sense to me because I'm like, I think places where there's huge religious sects of people, it's too overwhelming. Like, what would be considered abuse in Los Angeles, California is like common practice in some churches that they encourage and say is acceptable. So people were just saying, like, the fact that they were both arrested, no bail, is like, what was, because, you know, a lot of details haven't been released. It's just like, what was going on? Like, this is a really bad situation.
Yeah. I not to this point, but I've like you said earlier, like you had like 3 rules that you couldn't break. Like, my parents I didn't realize that they were just, I was hyper vigilant as a child. Like, they were always in like triggered states, and my mom was deeply like my brother had ADHD, and I think my dad's on the spectrum. And my dad, like, he'll lock onto a sound. But
you say your brother had ADHD or your mom? Oh, your brother.
And I think my dad is on the spectrum, but like my brother would hum to like self-soothe, and then when my dad was already irritated with my mom, like, that would just set my dad off. And it was that. So sad. Yeah, Hannah was the baby, so she was the golden child. But like, when it comes to like the scapegoat, Jake was the scapegoat in our family. The person who is narcissistic, who is like the head, they usually go after the people that they can reasonably control or like hurt, you know. And so in this situation, it's going to be the youngest children. What's weird about my mom is that, like, I've briefly seen glimpses of her be like a fully realized human being, but for her to achieve that, all of the good, like, none of the situation can involve anything she's done. Like, she can only be objective. Like, if we're in a car and we're having just a simple, like, mom forgot that she's supposed to bring orange slices, you know, which is not a big deal because another mom was promised to also bring orange slices, so there's still gonna be orange slices. My mom could not unlatch from that fact because it says, she was like, oh, that means I'm a bad person. And so if people in the car are talking and dad's getting overstimulated, and so now they're just working off each other, they're about to explode. They're about to pull over, and we're about to walk to soccer practice. We're about to walk an hour to fucking soccer practice. Like, there's the only way to de-escalate my mom is to get my dad away from her, get Jake away from my dad, and then get Hannah with my mom. But yeah, I can see that this is what happened, and it's really sucked that it got to this point that the youngest were bound and starved and had to climb out a window.
Well, and it's such bad medical issues that they were taken to like, emergency. And in the 911 call, you hear the woman she's like, the neighbor who I guess called 911, she's like, the woman's getting emotional because of the medical issues. Like, it was so severe. And I was talking to my roommate about this.
Wait, the woman or the girl is getting emotional because of
the boy was the one who climbed out of the window.
Okay, yeah.
The woman was the woman who he knocked on the door and was like, please, can I have food and water? And she was like, you have duct tape on your hands and legs? Like, what's happening? And I was talking to my roommate yesterday where I was like, I feel like the amount, like, there are a lot of people who have abusive parents, and they still want to be with their parents more than anything in the world. Do you know what I mean? You see this all the time where it's like, just, it almost is like the abuse makes them want their parents' love more, obviously, you know, and it's just like so sad. I feel like you see so many situations that you're like, why wouldn't that kid just want to go to a new home? And it's like, no, because they just want to be with their mom. It is like a natural, in our bones thing to want to be with your parent. The level of abuse it takes to make a child who's been in your care since they were a baby, who's young still, like, not a teenager, who's like a young kid still, climb out of a window and go knock door to door, because he, I think, knocked on multiple doors, to be like, help me call the police, is so wild. Like, this is a child also who doesn't really know better. Like, he's not like me being thrown into that situation being like, oh yeah, this is not how you're supposed to be treated. It's like, to him, this is parenting. Like, this is what he's been told. He's been being brainwashed since he was like 5 years old, and he can even recognize at such a young age, this is wrong and this is bad and I need to call the police. Like, the level of abuse that takes is It's just mind-blowing.
Yeah. I definitely think the older kids, like you said, the oldest went no contact in September of 2022. And I mean, so that's last year. And then the younger kids this year, I think when the oldest, because the oldest is probably still talking with the younger siblings.
No. Fully cut off.
Well, I mean, there must have been something before the no contact that she's communicating that there's something wrong with the parents. So the children have this inkling now. Like if the oldest didn't move out and they're all like, still under mom's roof, then I don't think that any of them would have tried to escape. I think since one of them got out, and then it's probably taken a year for like the youngest to realize something is really amiss. Yeah. That the oldest has now gone no contact. That signals to them, even in their young mind, something is wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. Because they all loved her, and like she was a mom figure to them. Because you see it in the vlogs. There's this one vlog that just makes me so mad, and it is like one of her least bad moments, honestly. But the little girl, the youngest daughter, is up at like it's early in the morning. And she's like trying to get ready for school. And Sherry, the oldest daughter, is getting the youngest daughter ready for school. Mm-hmm. And the little girl's like crying and Ruby's vlogging. I'm just like, put your fucking camera down. Yeah. What are you doing? She's vlogging and she's like, well, Eve's not going to school today. Sorry, no school for you because you woke up late. At this time, Eve's literally 4 or 5. Yeah. She's going to preschool or kindergarten or something. She's like, you didn't wake up on time. You didn't set your alarm, so you don't get to go to school. And Sherry, the oldest daughter, literally calls her mom out and is like, she's 5. Yeah. How is she supposed to get? And then Ruby's like, well, she eventually woke up. And Sherry's like, because I woke her up. Like, I woke her up and started getting ready for school. Like, she's a baby. What are you doing? And it is just like, so I think all the siblings had such an attachment to the older sister. Mm-hmm. And then now she's no contact. And I think that is another thing that should have been like, was a huge red flag, is they were also close to the other siblings who also have vlog channels. Yeah. And Ruby like cut off contact with all of them. Would not let the cousins were close, wouldn't let them see their cousins anymore. Yeah. Started homeschooling them. They weren't homeschooled before. Started homeschooling all of them, which to me, I'm like, I don't know. Maybe this is a controversial opinion, but I'm like, if you're going to start getting homeschooled randomly, there should be someone should go visit your house and be like, what's happening here?
Oh, no, 100%.
What type of school is going to be happening here? Yeah. Because it is just like famously a trope of like, oh yeah, they started homeschool. I mean, especially if you like start homeschooling. I'm like, what was this? It's so bizarre. So she starts homeschooling. And it's like, well, Sherry doesn't want to talk to the mom, so now Sherry doesn't get to see any of her siblings anymore. She's very close to. Mm-hmm. They don't get to see. And I'm like, if you're hiding your kids away like that, why? Like, what is the reason? Why can't they go to school? Well, it's because, and it's just so, sorry, this is kind of off topic, but there's a rant that was kind of funny that went viral of Ruby from 8 Passengers last year. That was kind of it was like a meme for a while because her daughter was doing a PE in public school, a PE dance class, and they danced to Low by Flo Rida. Oh, yeah. And it wasn't even the part the part wasn't even that bad. It was like a mashup. So it was just one part of it. And Ruby is sobbing, like hyperventilating. Like you would have thought she just watched all of her family get hit by a bus. Like she is like hyperventilating. She's like, they are taking children's innocence away from them. And it is just insane. It's like a sketch because like in sketch class you learn like, oh, take something really like real and then replace one detail with something that's stupid. And that's how you make a sketch. And it's like, that is what this video was. She's like, Flo Rida, they're telling my daughter to get low. It's so insane. And then footage leaks of the dad at a board meeting for the school reading all the lyrics to Low. Yeah. And it is the greatest video I've ever seen in my entire life.
Oh my God.
Because he's like, just saying the words so seriously. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, talk about distortion. Yeah. You're that upset by that. Yeah. You're genuinely, because to me, I'm like, unless you're not that good of an actor, they released a music video one time. I saw Ruby's acting. She's terrible. Yeah. She's really upset about this. Like this, but to me, it's because she's lost control is what she's really crying about. Yeah. Because I remember watching it being like, she really is upset. Like this is wild. This person's so upset. But you can watch your kid be malnourished in a basement, chained up, and you don't care. That's fine to you. The level of like delusion it takes to just be so confused by how the world works. I don't know. It's just really, I don't know.
I mean, this is going to sound weird. I mean, for how her brain probably works, what she's doing probably does make sense.
Yeah.
She's so deeply ashamed and like paranoid at this point. Like shame becomes horrible anxiety, and then that becomes paranoia, and that's where you like start to create like things that are not happening. But like if the children are chained up, like they probably did like they spoke back to her, like you said, like they made comments in the car. And so if they're saying she's even a bad driver, she did something wrong, or she's being annoying, that would signal to her like very low emotional intelligence. Either I am annoying, I am the bad person.
Well, that's why I'm like, are you an idiot? To me, when Sherry excommunicated from her, I thought she was going to have a wake-up call.
Yeah.
Because Sherry is, once again, the golden child. She submitted in every way. I mean, she was just like perfect. Little perfect daughter, did everything straight A's, went to the college her mom wanted her to go to, did everything she wanted. Was so perfect.
Yeah.
And immediately was like, fuck you. Goodbye. I'm never speaking to you again. And all this stuff you believed, I don't believe. Goodbye. You'd think Ruby would be like, uh-oh, maybe I wasn't as sure about myself as I thought I was. Because I'm like, how do you not realize the only people getting in trouble with you, the only people who are quote unquote living in distortion are the kids that are too young to know how to silence that part of themselves. All of your children who are older have learned to just pretend.
Yeah.
And you don't see that, as then one of them graduates and just excommunicates from you?
I understand. It doesn't make sense. But like she has such low emotional intelligence, she physically cannot self-reflect. And a similar thing happened with my younger sister. My younger sister, all-star track, all-star soccer, straight A's, engineering, full ride, like valedictorian. But as soon as she came out as gay, she was cut off from golden child privileges. If anything, that solidifies something in your parents' mind. If they haven't reflected at this point, they are totally incapable. And like where we're all as normal human beings are getting caught up is because we are capable of self-reflection.
Yeah.
If someone that we deeply loved left our lives, most of us would sit back and be like, what did I do?
Yeah.
You know, you would tear yourself apart. But like when you have such low emotional intelligence where you think it's good versus evil, and that is backed up by like years of paranoia.
Yeah.
That you need serious MDMA to have any sort of like self-reflection. This person, if anything, it made the mom's behavior worse, which is unfortunate. Also, what I want to give like a little hopeful thing. Have you ever read like any books on codependency?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so like, and then there's something called like Al-Anon, which is for like alcoholics. So when the oldest sister left, I'm pretty sure the mom's behavior got much worse.
Oh, yeah.
Because she needed to double down, because then she like probably was trying to tell her kids, you can't leave me like she can, or else it's going to be bad.
Yeah.
But what a lot of times, if you're friends with someone, or if you're in love with someone who's an alcoholic or a narcissist or something like that, and you want to get better, you want them to get better, you first have to work on yourself. Sherry leaving and Sherry like signaling to the other kids that it is possible to leave probably clicked something in all the kids' brains where like they are still unfortunately stuck under the roof. But like if you help yourself, other people will see that in the same horrible situation and be like, I can do it too.
Yeah.
I have no doubt in my mind that the mom's behavior got worse when Sherry left, but it finally, Sherry leaving did also help the kids finally probably climb out the window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and this is all speculation, but it's just from how she's been described, her behavior, her punishment style, this is probably the timeline of things.
Well, and these children are, and you know, we don't, I can't deep dive into this because we don't have time, but I do feel guilt and weirdness about the amount I've watched this family and seen it, because it does feel like I've slowly watched a progression of a crime, like a true crime.
Yeah.
And it's deeply sad. But also, there were certain times I watched it as a kid where I wasn't thinking about exploitation, child exploitation. I was a child, you know? But I will say, more than any children I have literally ever seen in my life, all of them are so, like, aware and, like, intelligent.
Yeah.
Or even, like, I always think about, well, the 14-year-old girl is, like, there's compilations on YouTube of her being like, stop filming me, it's weird.
Yeah.
I'm like, and she was like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And it's like I mean, most of these family vloggers, their kids are just like, just being normal children. And like, they're not aware of the impact that this is going to have on them or how the internet even works. It felt like all of these children were just like, my mom is crazy. Like there are clips on TikTok after clip on TikTok of the children like looking at each other being like, mom is being so weird. Like, I do think they had such a strong connection of being like, this is not good. This is not, she's bizarre and she's getting worse over time. So I really hope that they have a nice future, I hope.
I will say, though, you shouldn't film your children, but the one good thing about this lady exploiting her kids is that I know that there's commenters, and I know that the children read the comments at some point, and the commenters are like, hey, kids, you should not be experiencing this. And just those sort of like comments that backed up that little piece of doubt in your brain. Because like when I was younger, when I was being treated horribly, I didn't really talk about like what was happening. And so I just accepted the horrible things that was happening. Thankfully, the mom was stupid enough to document what she was doing. So
insane. That's true narcissism. Yeah. She thought she was right. Like it's wild.
I know. That should show like the level of like
it's like when a kidnapper like takes the kids they've kidnapped out somewhere and they get caught. And I'm like, not to give you advice, but what the fuck are you doing? And it's like they're so delusional. They're like, I can do whatever.
No, seriously, like they believe their own lies at that point, which is like the terrifying thing of like, it's just lies on lies. Like that's like people who go to court and they've been filmed committing a crime and they're like, that is not me. And you're like, that is you. But the thing is, what's really actually scary is that the person who's getting arrested for this crime genuinely believes at that point that it's not them. And that shows how paranoia can develop into like, it can genuinely make you sick.
Yes.
But I'm trying to say the good thing about this is if you do see family channels and you happen to watch it, the least you can do after you've watched it is if you see something bad, let the kid know, because the kid probably reads the comments. Like, back up that weak little thought in their brain. Yeah. Like, this, I should not be treated like this or starved, because, I mean, parents might delete it, but that's the least you can do in this situation.
Well, I mean, that's why I tried it, because I'm like, I watched this all through high school. I do. And I know we joke about it. I comically have more information on these family bloggers than is. It's bizarre. I've hyper-focused on it because I'm so fascinated by just how insane it is. Yeah. I'm like, I can't look away. And then you just know, I'm like, but I do think I try, and I think I hope this is a turning point in YouTube. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it will be, but I think YouTube could I might be wrong. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know anything, but I'm like, so much abuse is documented on YouTube. Yeah. So much of it. And there's nothing anyone could do about it. And I do feel like, I am not saying that every person who has a family vlog channel is capable of taping up their children and starving them. I don't believe that to be true. But I do think if you are a big YouTuber with a family channel, because I think there's some 19-year-old teen moms who just like post videos and go viral and like they don't have malicious intent. Yeah. I think that at that point should be on the laws and on YouTube to like guide them to be like, nope, you can't do that. But there are so many family channels who have millions upon millions upon millions of views and exploit their children and share such insane details about their children, their doctor, what doctor they have, all their medical records, what school they go to, what school. There's videos on 8 Passengers where you watch one of her kids get into a school and they're like, you got into this school and here's the date you're starting and the location. I mean, it's wild. It's so dangerous. And I think if you were a smart person, which I think unfortunately a lot of these people are not the most dumb people. I think they're just normal people. I think if you're a family vlogger, you at least have realized that there are dangers involved with putting your kid on the internet. There are negatives. You've seen DMs. I've known people who have family vlog channels who've told me about the most upsetting DMs they've received about their children. And you know that, and you choose to still do it. Yeah. And monetize off of it. And though I don't think you're capable of this level of abuse, I think it's like, you clearly have made a choice where you don't care. You care more about money than this. And there's been tons of family vloggers who have stopped vlogging and made a video being like, here's why I had to stop. I realized like I cannot be a good mom. And if my whole thing I preach is to protect my kids.
Yeah.
And a lot of these people are religious, so they're all about they're like, I got to protect my kid.
Yeah.
And you're every day showing that you're not doing that. If you really believe that, you will eventually stop doing it. And we've seen so many family vlog channels stop and been like, I can't do this anymore. So I think I just hope it opens up a bigger conversation about like why this is so deeply unacceptable.
Oh yeah. I mean, a lot of, like you said something, like a young mom posts like a really harmless video with no ill intent to go viral. The thing is even with that, like just because you have good intentions does not mean that other people have good intentions. Exactly. So it's like a lot of people see their children as extensions of themselves. Mm-hmm. They're not their own individual human being. You could have the best, like my cousin could post a photo of her little baby girl sitting in a bathtub, and every normal human being is like, oh, this is really cute.
Yeah.
However, she is topless, and you have to account for the creeps, you know? And it's a horrible, nasty thought, but you do have to realize, like, this person's safety is in your hands now. Yeah. This is not you. It doesn't matter if you would post these photos of yourself.
Yeah.
Like, this person cannot consent to this, you know, going out there. And it's like, it's like taking a funny photo of your drunk friend who's passed out. Like, it's all in good fun, but like if, say, they see that when they wake up, they're like, I didn't consent to that picture being taken. Even if you're like, oh, it was just a funny position you were sleeping in. Like, the person is still like, I didn't agree to that, you know? And so that's with kids. Kids are not you.
No.
You know, and I think, but also your manager told us about a law that's coming up in Illinois, Florida and California, but Illinois is starting it off. A new Illinois law wants to ensure child influencers get a share of their earnings. So this is just a minor part we're going to touch on at the end. The law, which is an amendment to the state's existing child labor laws, entitles child influencers to a percentage of their earnings made from the content they're featured in and held in a trust until they're 18. And so it's starting to happen in California, Florida, and New York, as well as Illinois. And that's even a minor thing. That doesn't even touch on like the safety of like, you know, now you know where the kids' gymboree is.
Yeah, well, because that's why I think it's so bizarre. All of these, because there is something connected. I mean, there's a huge Mormon community online, which doesn't make sense because it does go against so much of what they believe in. Even like, I know there's a law that you can't film in temple, but if you're a famous enough influencer, they let you film in temple. It's like bizarre. It's like all of it is just because they want to promote their church. Yeah. Because it's a business. And they also get tithings. So the more money you make, the more money they make. It's like perfect. And I find it so bizarre because a lot of these people are so against Hollywood. And they're like, Hollywood's terrible. And I'm not Hollywood's number one fan, but they're like, oh, children in Hollywood. That's putting your kid into the devil's ring. Yeah. And I'm like, literally what you're doing is identical except no laws. I probably wouldn't let my kid be a child actor, but I would any day let my kid be in a cranberry juice commercial over vlogging them being potty trained.
Oh no, I'm blanking on the word, but a lot of people judge themselves based off of intent and they judge other people off of actions. So when you you see Hollywood and you see all these actions that like this child went down the hole. And so they're not judging themselves by the actions that they've done. They're judging themselves by their intentions. Right. They're like, I'm doing this like just to promote my church. Realistically, you're filming the inside of a church, and if it was someone else, you would be like, this action is bad. But for you, what is that word? Others on. God, I was just listening.
I hate when you have to Google something like that where you're listing like the longest sentence and you're like, how do I describe this?
Yeah, what is that called? Oh my God. Okay, wait. I don't know, but it's a very common thing, but yeah, it's a messed up system. I hope that the Illinois law and like the California law, I hope it is really specific or broad, like it hopes like it focuses in on family channels, and even if they have to target the money aspect of it first, that will come with the safety aspect of it. Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure if there's like the children will get their own OSHA essentially after they because the money's the most important thing,
Yeah.
and then the safety is like comes second.
But seriously, because you have to be compensated for this because
Yeah.
you have ruined your kid's life.
Yeah.
And I really sure, there's some kids that if they, like Everly LeBrant clearly wants to be famous. Now, is that by her parents doing? I don't know. She's been a dancer since she was 4. She's obsessed. She likes dancing. She likes being on the internet. It seems like I think there's that's a whole other can of worms.
Yeah.
Not every kid wants that, at all. And Sherry, the oldest kid of 8 passengers, goes to BYU. And I see them because I follow a lot of 8 passenger stuff. I see it comes on my For You page. People at her school filming her without her consent, bullying her, making fun of her. Her roommate, I think this is so dark and messed up. And my manager and I are talking about how annoying this is. Her roommate, her college roommate, who Sherry posted a photo on Instagram being like, roller skating with my new roommate. Sherry's excited to have a new friend. Her roommate posted a long video being like, I was roommates with Sherry from 8 Passengers, and here was my experience.
Yeah.
Her life is ruined. She will never get a normal life ever. You have to be paid for that. And it is so weird. I hear so many family vlog parents be like, pay my kids. I give them the greatest life ever. I mean, they go to Disney all the time. They get anything they want. And I'm like, can you imagine if you were a successful doctor and you were a millionaire and then your kid also worked at a pool 5 days a week or 7 days a week? And then you were like, well, I still get all your money. Mm-hmm. That's not fair. Just because you're rich and can give them a nice life doesn't mean they don't deserve money for working. Yeah. And it wouldn't even, I think so much proof in how abusive family vlogging can be to kids is that Hollywood laws wouldn't even work in family vlogging.
Yeah.
For example, you would have, if laws start being made, it'll be like kids can only film this amount of hours a day.
Yeah.
You know how long a baby can film a day?
Yeah.
On set? At 45 minutes. It's insane. It's so short. You could no longer do 24 hours in a hot tub with Everly Rose. You can't do a full weekend vlog. You can't do those things because your kids are working over hours, and that's illegal.
Yeah.
So it would become, not possible.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just think it's really bad. And obviously, I think it's hard with this situation because I'm not saying, see, this is why we can't family vlog because this woman tied up her children and malnourished them. It's obviously, no, it's a different situation. But it is connected because it is this is a woman that people watched every day to get parenting advice from. People thought this was the perfect family, especially young kids, the perfect family. And it is just like a horror house. It's terrible.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, again, the whole working thing, they see the child as extensions of themselves, and the dad would sit in a hot tub for 24 hours, so why not my daughter, you know, because that's me. That's an extension of me, which is, again, horrible idiocy, just so fucking stupid. And
they know. This is what really pisses me off, because these people know what's happening to their footage of their children.
Yeah.
And you can go online and you can go to, I forget what the website is. I haven't done it, but I've heard people talk about it.
Yeah.
Who are talk about child exploitation. You can look up on a video of the LeBrant fam or a video of any whatever. What is the part of this video that was played the most?
Yeah.
It is always child in a bikini, child at gymnastics practice, and not just their child, other children who've not consented to being filmed at gymnastics practice. Their kids' feet. It is, and they know because they are professional multi-million-dollar YouTubers. They know that their kids' stuff is on porn websites.
Yeah.
They know that and they are just if I found out I don't even have a child. If I found out my dog's photos were on a porn website, do you know what I'd do? I'd lose my mind. I mean, if I found out my kids, I just can't even imagine. I would be at the police station.
Oh, yeah.
I would throw all my technology away and I would be at the police station being like, I will be here until these are taken down. I would be losing my mind, and these people just continue to post.
Yeah.
It's sometimes I think because videos that are perverted do better.
Yeah.
And I would be lying if I didn't post. If I posted a TikTok where my butt was looking extra good and I made it the thumbnail.
Yeah.
They do better. What can I say?
That's true. They are, if they see the stats, and if they're honest with themselves, they would be like, I am a bad parent for letting creeps stare, and they cannot accept that they are a bad person, so they reject it so fully. And okay, I want to give an example of narcissists can have slivers of being objective, good people. I want to give an example of what my mom has done one time.
Yeah.
If you criticize my mom at all, about anything. You are wrong. You are deranged. You are out of your mind. But like one time I went home for Thanksgiving and I was there with my aunt who is an EMT.
Okay.
And she drives an ambulance and my mom is a doctor and my aunt and my mom are a bit strained in their relationship. My aunt is very Republican and she drives an emergency vehicle and she was talking about how...
Oh, I thought you meant at all times. I was imagining her pulling up to Thanksgiving in like a fire truck.
No, she drives an ambulance, and she was talking about how poor people are stupid because they always call 911 when they have a panic attack or it's something minor. And she was talking about why don't you just set up a doctor's appointment? Like you don't have to go to the emergency room every minor convenience. And so my mom,
my God, I know,
but
I could freaking scream at that.
This is one time when I literally was about to start crying. My mom literally turns to my aunt, is like, what is wrong with you? A lot of people don't have, like, okay, when a panic attack and a heart attack are hard to distinguish from each other. So I don't blame anyone who has lower education on calling 911 if they believe they're having a heart attack. Second off, a lot of low-income people cannot afford like a primary care physician. So a lot of people end up going to the ER because something has been exacerbated to a point where they can no longer ignore it. And my mom was like, how dare you? And in that moment, I was like, I like caught a glimpse of like the woman that my mother could have been.
Yeah.
Like she was like going to bat for like low income people and like talking about like, cause she also works at a hospital.
I was going to say, but she works at a hospital. She probably has seen this.
Yeah. The thing is the reason why she could finally she didn't add on, cause my mom has bitched about patients before, but the reason why she could finally be objective is because this is not the county that she lives in.
Yeah.
They don't go to her hospital. We were in South Carolina at the time and my mom is working in North Carolina. So it's like, it's not her state, her county, her problem. And so she finally like became like the woman that I've always wanted her to be.
The woman for the people.
She went up to bat and I remember I like reached out my hand and I like touched her.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I got like to momentarily touch the woman that my mom could have been.
That's very sweet.
And then she looked down at me and it was like she snapped out of it and she was like, your arms are so hairy.
Because it also shows like she has something going on in there that's real. Because
it's trapped in there.
It's in there because I am amazed. And I saw this so much during COVID.
Yeah.
I'm like, how can you fucking work in a hospital and not believe in universal health care? Like, how?
Yeah.
Like, you actually have to be crazy because anyone who, like, is logical and works at a hospital will tell you, well, universal health care already exists because whenever a homeless person or someone who's low income comes to the hospital, guess what? They don't pay for anything because they can't and they still get treatment. I mean, that's just how it works. And it is overrun with homeless people who have infections that could have been fixed immediately, people who have a cold, people who have all this stuff because they don't have health care. So when you go in with having your leg decapitated in a car crash, guess why you have to wait in the waiting room for an hour? Because there's a bunch of people in beds who have fucking like a cold. It's like wild. And it is just so like unbelievably uneducated where it is like, you think we couldn't afford universal health care? It already happens. But it's just not, you know what I mean? It's not actually happening. But it's like aren't there companies that like buy debt from hospitals?
Yeah.
They'll like buy a penny of debt from hospitals because it's like the hospitals will take a penny because they know it's more than they're going to make from like people. I don't know. I've just heard it's like it is already a thing that is happening and it is so poorly managed. So I just can't imagine working in a hospital and you see this every day. You're like, wow, I have like one patient who is fully dying and one patient who's like, my wrist, it's Sarah with her carpal tunnel being like, help me.
Yeah.
And it's just like so wild. So anyways, that's a whole other rant, but I just can't, it makes me infuriated.
No, yeah, but it's actually kind of crazy. I noticed there was a noticeable shift in how much my mom cared about other people, marginally. My mom was a military doctor, so I remember her talking about this. Most of her patients in the past have been in very well health, like very fit.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And so the only real injuries she sees are like extreme.
Bad, yeah.
Yeah, and so then she went to like the Gen Pop. Like that sounds like, well, that is a prison term.
What?
General population.
Oh.
Okay, sorry. She also did work in prisons as well. But like, she went to like civilians and she was like, a lot of the patients are just diabetic. and there's something like the most extreme stuff that she usually sees in the middle of her neck of the woods is like something had to do with diabetes. And so she's like, it is crazy to see. And a lot of people do go to the ER for like things that could have been treated, but they couldn't afford. And a large part of the people in the ER, she says, are just there for STDs because they've gotten there because it's something that you can ignore a little bit, but then when it gets bad, it gets bad.
Well, this is why I got so mad. Okay, then we're really going off the rails, but really fast. I posted a video the other day joking. I don't go to the hospital. I don't go to the doctor every day. That's obviously an exaggeration. I go probably once a month. Sometimes more because I have also lupus, so I have to go to the rheumatologist.
I go to the hospital a lot. Oh no, my new place. I was like, I literally saw the place and I told the real estate agent, oh thank God, it's so close to Cedars-Sinai. And he was like, what? And I was like, sorry, it makes it seem like I'm there a lot, but yes, keep going.
So I go to the doctor a lot. I have lupus.
Yeah.
I already am supposed to go to the doctor way more. I'm like supposed to go to the doctor more than other people, and I have a general practitioner, and I also go to the dermatologist a lot because I'm so scared of getting skin cancer. Honestly, I have a theory that my dermatologist just does biopsies on me because they cost money, and she's just I'll come in and she's like, want me to cut this off? And I'm like, sure. She's like, it could be cancer. It never has been.
It's your
and
tattoo.
I'm like, literally. But so I go to the doctor a lot. So I made this post just joking about how I'm a hypochondriac and being like, why do people hate going to the doctor? I love going to the doctor. I always get they have a store in my doctor's office, so I go get a little treat. It's so fun, and they always find something for me to do. So last time I went and they didn't know what they could do, so they gave me a vaccine, and they tested me for depression. It was kind of funny because they just were like, I don't know, here, fill this out. And it was just a depression test. And then I got blood work done. So it's still productive. I got blood work done that was helpful and whatever. So many comments were like, fuck you. Why? This is why we have problems with healthcare in America, is because people like you go to the doctor when nothing's wrong, and I don't even. So many comments were like, "Wow, way to brag! I don't have healthcare, and you're misusing healthcare." And I was like, "You can't misuse healthcare. Healthcare is supposed to be preventative."
Yeah.
So I go to get blood work. And usually there is something wrong because I have lupus.
Yeah.
They're always wanting to check me out. My doctors are much more happy if I come in more than if I come in less because I always have something kind of going on. But I was like, this is just an example of how the government makes poor people hate other poor people. I'm not poor I'm not saying I'm poor, but I am a normal person going to the doctor, which is good. You're upset because you can't go to the doctor because you don't have health insurance. That is terrible, and that is on the government's fault. That is not good, and that's what I'm voting against. That I want you to have health care. You should be able to go to the doctor, but don't make other people think they should go less because you can't go to the doctor.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's just this thing where I'm like, that's not the problem. It's not because I go once a month to the doctor to make sure my lupus is okay. It's because people don't want to pay. Rich people don't want to pay taxes, so you can go to the doctor. That's the problem.
You are literally a plastic straw in the middle of an oil spill.
Yes.
And they're only honed in onto the single, those people, low emotional intelligence, need to zoom out. You are looking at a 2 mile by 15 mile oil spill, and Kendahl happens to be the plastic straw floating through it.
Right.
It's it's the system. It is not Kendahl as a single individual.
Right.
You know?
I mean, it's kind of like when Tara's World, I always talk about Tara's World. I can't stop thinking about Tara's World. She bought those $10,000 concert seats. Crazy. I mean, it's crazy. It's bizarre.
Yeah.
But she makes so much. I mean, she makes millions of dollars a year. She makes an insane amount of money. And people were like, you just spent more on a concert ticket than I make all year at my full-time job. And I was like, yes, you should be mad about that. That is crazy. It's ultimately not Tara's World's fault.
Yeah.
It is a bigger issue than Tara's World buying a $10,000 concert ticket. The fact that there's $10,000 concert tickets is bizarre to begin with.
Yeah.
But I'm like, she's not the reason you are being mistreated by. Do you know what I mean?
Anyway. She is not the reason why the system is broken. If Tara's World were to cease to exist, if Kendahl were to cease to exist, the capitalism would still be here, and pollution would still be abundant, and healthcare would still be there is there's no ethical consumption under capitalism, but that doesn't mean that people like Kendahl are not doing their part still. Like Kendahl probably recycles and does all these like things and pays taxes, which goes to healthcare. Like, so she's still working and she's still being as ethical as possible, but also she's going to the hospital for her health.
Yeah.
So it's like the inability to weigh two things at once. There's this broken system and you are mad, but it's not.
And this is exactly what Ruby's problem is. This is exactly what Ruby's problem is. She can't see two things at once. She's crazy.
Yeah.
So she thinks her children at 10 years old they deserve nothing. They deserve starvation.
I sincerely hope she goes to jail, and I sincerely hope that these kids get the financial and mental health and any sort of support that they need. And I really hope that the community that has supported and funded 8 Passengers is the community that rallies behind these children. If you are, say, you're fans, and there's any sort of like, you need to help these kids out, I would jump on that right now because that is something you can do.
100%. And because the reality is, I've watched their videos. Like I have given to, whether it's for funny jokes or not.
Yeah.
I can't anymore. I don't know how people are still making memes about it. It's too sad now. But 3 years ago, I'm making jokes about it. I'm showing my friends a video of her getting in a car crash and being insane. I'm showing these videos. I'm giving to that. I think the best I can do now is just, we have to talk about it. It's past this. This situation, hopefully, fingers crossed, will not happen again.
Oh, yeah.
With this specific family. This is hopefully done. These children are going to be dealing with this for the rest of their lives. This is going to cause generational trauma, unfortunately, and that is terrible. But what we can do is talk about the family vloggers and how it's unacceptable, and it shouldn't be legal. It just shouldn't be some law. There has to be one law, just one law in place that protects these children in any way, because it is exploitive. And this is not the first family on YouTube to have a scandal where it is shown that they're not treating their kids with respect.
What I'm hoping out of this situation, legally, is all of the kids sue the parents.
Oh yeah.
Because you said, even if that just helps advance Utah laws, if they could set a precedent when it comes to, if they have not, obviously their safety, well-being, them being children is priority, but if they sue their parents and it has to do with internet sort of things, then they could set a precedent.
Yeah.
But that is no rush. They're healing.
No rush. Take a night.
Yeah,
Take a night off.
But I'm saying that there's potential for legal advancement here.
I feel a little bit of hope for them because they do have a lot of resources. I think there's been cases like this that have been so disastrous.
I'm actually scared they don't have resources because I know that their mom probably didn't set a fund aside for them.
No, not resources like money. They have a big family.
Okay.
That's very online as being we're making sure they're safe and they're in a home. So I know because I've just known the Turpin family went to into foster care and then went to another abusive home. Really unfortunate scenarios. I don't think that's going to happen. That would be insane if that happened with this family.
Yeah.
So I think these kids are going to go into a home with people they know, who are caring, who are Mormon, but I think that might be comforting to them. I think it's nice. If they moved in with me and my girlfriend, they'd be at least if they're with Mormons who are normal Mormons, it'll be oh, this is what I know. I know
Normans.
this. They're Normans. Then that'll be a little comforting and easier to understand, maybe. We didn't even get to talk about this, and I know we got to wrap it up, but what's wild is apparently the dad is fighting for custody of the children. And to me, I'm that is wild because what you've allowed to happen is truly, it's just bizarre. I'm not there for it, so I don't know the whole situation. I know he's not living with them.
Yeah.
But I'm now you want custody? He wants full custody of them. That's what his lawyer released.
Well, what's that Janice Ian quote? There are 2 types of evil people in this world. People who do evil stuff and people who see evil stuff being done and don't try to stop it. And I think that the dad is that second type. And
when he was a part of Connections for a while.
Well, actually, I do need to add this on. That you don't want children, the last thing you want children to do is go into foster care.
Right.
So you do want them to stay with a relative, but if the dad is part of the problem, maybe dad, therapy, deep therapy, and stay with family. It's hard because I don't want the kids separated from as much as they're the horrible people in their lives, the last thing you want is for them to go in the system as well.
Yeah.
So it's horrible all around, and I hope these kids
it's terrible.
I hope they have good friends, make good friends, and their family is as nice as possible to them. And I hope that we never hear about them ever again.
That's what I hope. I really hope, and that's why I told Sarah before the podcast, I was like, I'm trying to not say the kids who are under 18's names. I think I fucked up a couple times, but the only reason I hesitated to even pitch this as a topic because I was like, part of me is like, we shouldn't even be talking about him at all, because it's like, this is already so terrible and now we're making a podcast about it. But it's like, this either is going to happen to this family or it's going to happen to once again, not this exact situation, but it's going to continue happening to families. There's already a billion videos being made about it. I do think it's, at this point, it's like, this news has made it to Greece. It's made it to, every Ireland. It's on it's national news. It's international news. So I'm like, I guess, I hope these kids get to just be in peace. And then there does become change from this. I hope that they don't have to speak on this in court. I hope that they can just like move on from this. And if you're listening and you ever see them in public, just don't take a photo of them. That really gets me riled up. Just like, let's forget about this. And I'm making changes in I think my ability to, it's hard because, I also do this for a living. So I'm like, sometimes we do episodes about it. So I do have to intake content that maybe I don't agree with, or I have to watch interviews with Elon Musk all the time, which I don't want to do. Yeah. But I do because I'm brave.
Yeah.
But I think just, these are people. Like, it's easy to make something a meme and make something funny, and it's like a joke online. Sherry Franke she's so annoying. Yeah. She's so whatever. I'm like, that's a teenager. Yeah. I was so annoying when I was a teenager.
Yeah. I think, and then like, whatever, like the last, I guess hopeful, we gave all of our disclaimers, but also just this is for anyone who's like part of a toxic family system. It is hard to leave, but like, just know that if you leave, it also signals to everyone else you feel like could leave with you that it's possible to leave. So I'm saying, at the end of this, take care of yourself first and foremost.
Yeah, and your safety.
And that will actually help a lot of other people by taking care of yourself.
And screw you, Ruby Doo and Jody Hildebrandt.
Screw you.
That's our final take. Just kidding.
I hope you guys rot.
Honestly. But the thought of... the only more attention I want them... Honestly, I hope a lot of fucking content comes out about Ruby in prison, because I'm never about showing that. But you deserve to be fucking exploited.
I hope her cellmate sells every story.
Oh, yeah. And I hope that... Honestly, I'd watch a reality TV show about her and Jody in prison, because they're going to get... I can't. Yeah. These women in prison, it does make me laugh. When you see a photo of them, look up a photo of Ruby Doo and Jody Hildebrandt. Yeah. Good Lord. The thought of them being in prison, they are not made for it. You can't freeze dry in prison. Oh my God. Ruby's never going to need a freeze dried thing again.
Well, I mean, I feel like they'll get theirs in prison because child abuse does not go over well.
I was going to say that. People, that is not accepted No, unacceptable. I mean, a lot of these people in prison haven't seen their kids in 20 years and would do anything to hang out with their kids, and you're in prison because you couldn't even. Yeah. I can't. It's just, oh man.
And it's public knowledge, so that's what you get for publicizing your life, ladies. These ladies now know your crimes. But that was this episode of the BCC Club. We don't have a character because it would be inappropriate. But next week we will. We will.
Of us doing a character right now is. Honestly, so
I'm
bad.
their cellmate.
Funny. Yeah, it's like
it's just me with a camcorder in my carpal tunnel, like filming them.
Oh my God. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. Sorry for a little bit of a bummer week, but this was going on the internet, and this stuff's real and it's happening, and it's let's not let it happen again.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us. Remember to subscribe to us on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts.
And thank you guys so much for listening. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye.